Hi everyone, I'm Nikki and welcome to week 3 of Building Our Bundle. This week we're talking about being with land, and we wanted to give you the opportunity to learn more about land and what it can mean for you in your personal journey. Oftentimes when we think about being with land or connecting with land, we think of being in the forest or being in the bush or being in our home territories. And for a lot of us who maybe live in the city or live in a place where it's difficult to find those natural environments, it can seem a little bit daunting to know how to connect with land, even if we really want to. So this session is all about building up that connection and setting the intention for building the connection in ways that maybe we haven't thought of before. I learn a lot about connections with land from watching my own children or watching young children being in natural environments. When I'm seeing them be on the land, I can tell there is this curiosity and this kind of natural give and take that they have when they're on the land. Seeing children be with the land makes me understand how so much of our day-to-day lives keeps us disconnected from land and keeps us from building our spiritual understandings and our feeling of interconnection with all of creation. But it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. And this session is all about really getting to understand in the mind, but also within our bodies, within our spirits, within our emotional selves, what it means to connect with land with that natural curiosity and attention. So when I'm talking about being with land, I want to make it clear that I'm not saying just being on the land is how we build connection. That is one of the ways, but everywhere is land. The city is land, the forest is land, your body is land, the air is land. Everything that we come into contact with on a day-to-day basis is land, is part of the first family. And sometimes we can lose sight of where land exists and how we can build that connection. One thing to know about being is that it's a way of seeing the world. Human beings are beings. We are alive, we are sentient, we are spiritual. We have the capacity to dream and to make choices and to live our lives the way we choose to. We are being, but often we don't make ourselves aware of the beingness. We don't make ourselves aware of how alive we are, or we don't really presence our spirit or the other aspects of ourselves in our day-to-day lives because we are so busy with keeping up with all of the things we need to keep up with. We are constantly distracted. We are constantly pulled in a million different directions, and it's really hard for us to just be. So being requires us to bring our awareness to the present moment, to bring our awareness to the aliveness, not only just in our bodies, but our whole selves. Every cell in our body, every part of our emotions, every part of our spirit is alive, is sentient. And when we bring our awareness to that presence in our lives, we become more aware of our being, but also the being of everything else. One way to think of this is to think about yourself as emanating an aura. And this is often how I think about my own spirit living within my body, that, you know, it's a colored light that exists within myself. And at certain points I can make that light grow, or I can make that light a little bit smaller depending on my energy or how I'm feeling that day. When I make that light grow, it actually makes me more aware of the light or the auras or the spirits that exist all around me. It kind of attracts the other spirits in the world. And so being with land is really just bringing our attention to the liveliness of everything. It's one thing to kind of know in your mind, yeah, I know that the trees are alive, and I know that the water is alive, and I know that the animals are alive. But are you really giving your full attention to the aliveness of everything around you? Try it the next time you're outside. See if you can just try to quiet your mind for a minute and just bask in creation with a curiosity and an awareness of the energy that is kind of emanating from everything around you. Once you're aware of being and your beingness and beingness of everything else, a helpful skill to also think about in order to connect with land in a meaningful way is radical acceptance. Radical acceptance is a skill where we stop fighting against reality and start fully accepting it. Why that means so much when we are talking about connecting with land is because for so many of us, that connection can bring up a lot of negative feelings. It can make us feel like we've been missing something or that we're longing for something that we can never have. Some of us have been relocated from places and we can never go home. Some of us don't know where home is. Those can really dampen our spirits and can really stop us from making meaningful connections with land and creation. So radically accepting is a process, it's a practice. It's waking up every day and being grateful for the life that you have. Not to say that you're grateful for everything in it, but that you recognize that it's happened and that you are able to move forward. So for this week's practice activity, we want to invite you to just be with land. In this practice, I want you to go to a place where you feel like you want to meaningfully connect with land and just focus on your sensory experience. So while you're doing this practice, I want you to think about 5 things in your environment that you can see, 4 things in your environment that you could touch, 3 things in your environment that you could hear, 2 things that you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste. You can do this anywhere. It doesn't have to be somewhere that's a land-based place. It can be in your bedroom, it can be at a park, it could be in an office, it could be in a school. Really, it's anywhere that you are that you want to bring your awareness to the present. And if you want to do this on the land as a way to connect with the land, I encourage you to do this in different places, in particular, maybe places that you haven't had the opportunity to spend that time with. You might want to do this practice more than once. And if you want to use this practice to connect with a place that maybe you can't physically visit, you can always use this as more of a meditative practice and envision that place that you want to connect with. Maybe it's your home territory. Maybe it's a place that you've imagined in your mind or seen it in your dreams, but maybe you don't actually know where that physically is located. That's still a place, that's still land that you can connect with, and use this practice to start to paint the picture more vividly, start to become aware of your being in that place. This is a way that we can visit different places. This is a way that we can meaningfully connect and set our intentions on that connection. Becoming aware is the first step to building our connection, and the next step is setting the intention. So I want you to do a bit of a journaling practice, and this is an activity that I like to do on a regular basis, which I call land letters. So in order to write a land letter, all you have to do is think about a place that you want to meaningfully connect to. If it helps to do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 practice, please do that first. And then really just think about the relationship that you want to have with that place. Is it a relationship that maybe you need to contribute a little bit more energy to? Is there something that is maybe posing barriers to connecting with land? I like to write letters to land as though it were a friend or family member. I write to land as though maybe it's like a long lost pen pal who I'm catching up with after a long time apart. And I will write in that letter the things that I missed about land, or the things that I see in land that I want to see more of. So you could use this time to comment on the place and describe the place, describe the feelings that come up for you about that place. And I always like to end those letters with an intention, a commitment that I am going to make to connect with that place meaningfully. Try this out, and if it works for you, feel free to start this as one of your daily practices. Maybe every morning, think about that relationship to land. And if you're really set on that intention and really want to take the next step in building that connection, I always encourage people to take it out on the land and make it known to land. Put yourself out there. If tobacco was one of the medicines that you use, offer your tobacco and ask for that connection. Ask for that relationship to be strengthened. And you'll be surprised what comes out of it. So for this week's photo challenge, I want you to show us a place that you want to connect with or that you have been connecting with. Take a picture of that place, and then I want you to use some kind of app to overlay a message. And that message is the intention you have for connecting with land. What is the intention you have? What is the commitment that you want to make to honoring your relationship with land? Post your pictures by Friday at midnight or send them to us through email or direct message for your chance to win this week's prize. Looking forward to seeing you next time. Bamapi.